Welcome to the Molybdenum Software Show with Jeremy and Dawn, and my dog is around here somewhere, but she doesn't usually participate in any meaningful manner. But she's worth mentioning, and we haven't seen Jeremy in a while. Tomorrow we might be 3.
Oh, right. Who would it be? Rob? Is it Robert?
Rob.
Okay, sweet.
Okay. You take command, I share screen.
Okie dokie.
Let me open up a timer here for myself. You know what? I'm going to try not using Zedge.
Okay.
But I got better in with the window management. So, for example, if I wanted to have like two terminals here, I would like do a split, such as this, and then open another one.
Yeah.
There I have it. Right?
Nice.
We go here and here and here. Okay. Well, this one I'll put over there, and then oops, I didn't mean to do that. There's a browser. The browser will be outside here. And I see. Wait. There were 2 terminals here. Did I close one? I must have. Okay.
So what's the one at the very bottom left? Is that a virtual desktop number?
Yes.
Okay.
Workspace?
Workspace.
I think it's desktop. Now that do you know how I focus in on one of these?
Sway? I have no idea. I can tell you how to do it in Xmonad, which is not going to help you, I guess. I can't even tell which one's focused right now. Are neither of them focused?
It's the group that is focused.
Okay. Yeah, I think these are different concepts than Xmonad has. You can't focus a group of windows in Xmonad. Or at least not the way I know how to use it.
Yeah. Let's see. Config sway. Config. Something like. Well, here they are.
Find sim.
Not the no repeat ones. Those are all mine.
Okay, workspaces and containers.
Not this. Focus down, focus left. That's not what we're looking for. Focus right. I think I want focus in. Focus child.
Focus left down, up right. Okay.
I see focus parent here, which I use. That's so if I do this now I'm focused on this terminal. If I do focus parent.
Okay.
See,
and now neither terminal is focused.
Right.
Okay.
I want the kind of the opposite. I want focus in, focus child.
And focus left doesn't do anything because there's nothing to the left?
No, left would go to Chromium on the left.
Chromium's on the left?
One.
Oh, that's what left means.
Yes, that's what left means now.
Are something. I don't know what the word for them is.
They're groups, right?
It's called a group. Okay.
Layout, toggle split, posting focus left, down, up, right switch, show, resize, layout, stacking. I think that's it. It wouldn't be anywhere else, would it? Kind of looks like it's missing, doesn't it? Okay, I'll make a note. Sway, focus, child. So what we've been doing is actually, we were kind of several layers deep here. We were working on OpenAPI, and then we said we want a dev server.
Remind me what a dev server is. Sorry.
While we were working on OpenAPI, we said we want to just examine what it mean, how the program behaves, because we're using this library.
Okay.
We want to get it up and play with it.
Yeah. That rings a bell.
So that would be a dev server, a command, in the shell probably, where, and then we said, okay, so we want a dev shell, and then I said, which I think is here. And then I said, you know what? NCI, Nix Cargo Integration, we get a dev shell for free with one option.
I don't know what Nix cargo integration is.
It's a flake part module.
Oh, okay.
For setting up the packages from crates from cargo.
Is it an abstraction on top of whatever we were using before? We were using what? Nix packages, Rust tooling
Crane,
plus Phoenix and Crane.
Crane and Phoenix. Phoenix is kind of side note because it's just for the.
We were using Crane. Okay. Yes. And is NCI a layer on top of Crane?
Oof. So it's a layer on top of. I'm not sure what the order is, but it's using Dream to Nix.
Oh.
As well as Crane.
In the perennially unstable project. I keep looking at it and it keeps saying it's under heavy development, and then it scares me off.
Yeah. To this day, I'm not sure what it actually does.
I did a decent amount of reading up on Dream to Nix at some point in the last couple of months. Then I learned about this whole NixCon talk that Elko gave about modular package modules. And then there was a whole, so this is the way we override and build packages in Nix packages is not at all like the NixOS module system, right? You do these dot override or dot override adders, and it all feels a little funky and untyped. So this idea that I presumably comes from Elko, but I don't know. He gave a talk on it some NixCon eons ago about basically using the NixOS module system, but for configuring packages. So you get strongly typed options and things like that. And so then there was a Nix packages working group that eventually dissolved. They didn't, they probably had some good discussions. And one of the members of that working group, I think one of the people who worked on Dream to Nix. So one of the things Dream to Nix does is it's a concrete implementation of the package module system. It hasn't made its way to Nix packages. Maybe someday it will. But I think that's one category of things that it does, and it uses this thing internally called DRV parts, which is, I think, related to that whole concept. And then the other half of it is like dealing with lock files in language-specific tooling, and I don't really understand where one ends and where the other begins. That's everything I know about Dream to Next.
So our conversion from Crane to NCI and Xargo integration is it's like 80% there,
Okay.
and it's looking great. It reduces the amount of code,
All right.
and it makes things more. It allows us more separation of concerns because it's a module system. So we can, one thing can be where we want it, another thing can be where we want it as well.
Cool.
And so maybe you'd like to see the progress on that.
Yeah. So is that the branch we're on? The NCI branch?
Yes.
Okay. Am I up?
Yes.
Any. Git patch upstream origin git checkout origin slash mob slash NCI. Okay.
Probably better that you check out NCI and then Mobstart.
Okay. I guess I could just check out NCI. There we go. I know how Git works. And I'm going to kill that. And I'll do a mob. Start 7. And there we go. Great. Here we go. Now we're building some stuff. Okay. So git diff NCI.
Mm-hmm.
Diff T perhaps. Okay. All right. So no surprise, there's a change to lock file. Oh, are we using dev shell or is that a transitive
We are.
dependency? Okay.
We are.
I've
NCI
started
has
using
an
that.
explicit integration with DevShell.
Cool.
You can tell it, it's optional. You can tell it, I want a DevShell. DevShell.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Dev shell. Well, I am familiar with that project. I've not heard of NCI. Yustakra. That's a cool username. Great. And then here's how we build the API package. And the checks come from somewhere else now.
NCI just makes the checks as well.
I see. So it just has same defaults for Rust projects like Clippy and Cargo Check or whatever.
Yes.
Sweet. Love it, love it. So that's why all this is going away. This is strange. I guess this something weird about Difftastic or the way I'm using Difftastic. Paths
I
seem
think it
pretty
might be the
bogus.
way you set it up. Because I don't think I'm getting this.
Weird, I don't have it here. But anyways, nice to see all this red.
Maybe because it's a file that's been removed.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that's a very satisfying amount of red. GitHub GraphQL schema. Does seem like we would need that variable in our dev shell. I'm surprised that that's disappearing. Do we have a different way of handling that? Okay,
Yes.
I see. So now we get the like That's pretty satisfying. So this is like, I have no idea what this option does, but this somehow floats up into the dev shell, this thing?
Yes, the dev shell combines all of the environments and all of the inputs from all of the crates.
Okay. All right. So a drv config. I guess I don't really understand conceptually what a drv config is. It's like stuff for a particular crate. That's how I should think of it.
I think this gets passed on to Dream2Nix, so it's a Dream2Nix option.
Okay. I see. So this is not just relevant for the dev shell. This is also relevant for building the crate.
Yes.
Okay. Whereas before we had to do it in two places. Like we had to put it here in the dev shell, and then we had to thread it through to the build down here.
Yes.
That's satisfying. Very cool. Okay. So like NCI or something understands like, okay, yeah, you're going to want to build these things in like a pure Nix sandbox, but then I'm also going to create a shell from within which you can just run regular old Rust tooling to build those same things. And so since it understands how to build the package, it knows enough to also set up a dev environment, which is why environment variables like this, it knows need to go in the dev shell.
Yes.
Sweet. Super, super cool. And that's us adding git neat. Okay. And we had some impure tests that we're skipping. Sure. All right. And then we have a module NCI. This adds in NCI itself. Okay. NCI has some concept of projects. I guess we only have one project. Oh. And that's the root of the repo, probably.
Mm-hmm.
rbconfig.env.rust flags. So these are just more things that end up in the shell and maybe also get used for building things.
Also, it is first for building. The shell is an optional feature.
Okay. So this like, because up here we were in nci.crates and here we're in nci.projects.
Yes.
So there's some relationship between projects and crates.
Yes.
Okay.
The crates that are discovered after you set a project with a path. They end up in NCI crates.
Okay. So I see. It's using Rust to walk this file system and trying to discover crates. It's using Nix
I
to
think
walk.
it expects a cargo toml, and in our case, it happens to be a workspace.
Okay. And then we're making further tweaks. Like this is basically where we specify the things that Rust's cargo system doesn't allow us to specify. Things like the environment variables you need to build, or actually after the fact, I want to
Mm-hmm.
wrap it with a path to Okay, all right, that sort of ties it together for me. Very cool. Yeah, this seems great. Okay, and then this is us opting into a dev shell, and what is probably the name of the dev shell or something.
Exactly.
Okay, makes sense. All right, from crane usage that is being replaced. See, deny warnings. Maybe this is done.
Deny warnings is there 2-3 lines above, but all targets and all features. I left this as a comment. So I wanted to make sure that that cargo Clippy does check all targets and all feed does use these flags.
Okay. Well, we will verify that. Okay. And then there's something incomplete about our tree font configuration.
I think that to do has nothing to do with tree font, with what it's about.
Oh, okay. Names. Okay. Right.
I think this is a to do to see that we did not end up changing the flake output paths.
Okay. Got it. And then we're doing something here to keep the version of Rust font in sync between our cargo tooling and tree font
Yes.
itself.
Yes, you can see that it obtains the toolchain from NCI.
Got it. Okay, very cool. I don't even know if we were doing that before. And program docs changed, or seems like I see some debugging going on here. So this is maybe a work in progress.
Yes, this is what we were working on.
Okay.
Because NCI, so open up the NCI repo, Nix Cargo Integration, and go to discussions, and I think it'll be the first discussion there. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yes, stock packages.
Okay. I'm kind of losing the thread here. So cargo test dash dash doc is not something I've ever heard of before. What are doc tests?
Yeah, doc tests are, so doc strings are comments with 3 slashes above items, and those are markdown. And if there are fenced code blocks in that markdown, by default they will become tests.
Cool.
And of the integration test kind.
Very cool.
And they will be run. And cargo test runs them by default. Cargo test with the doc flag runs only them.
Got it. Okay. And docs are generated by cargo doc, and there's
Yes.
something about if I'm in a Rust project not using Nix and I want the docs for the whole thing, I just run what, like cargo doc at the root of my workspace or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Probably.
And then the nuance here is like, that's great, but it sure would be nice for this to be implemented as multiple like derivations under the hood so that you get some
No, the
Nix level
opposite.
caching.
It's actually that Dream to Nix, because this is all based on Dream to Nix, what we would like, I'll start from the beginning. What we would like is that's what we currently have. What we currently have is that's how we build the docs, and we end up with docs for the entire. Actually, no, we specify. Yeah, we run the command for the entire workspace, and then we specify with using flags two packages, the fetcher and the API. And then an additional flag, we set no depths. So we end up with documentation for, actually, we actually separated the config. So we have API config and fetcher config crates. And for those, we build the docs for those two. But it is in the context of the entire workspace. And ideally, we would like to keep doing that because that makes sense. But because of how Dream to Nix, and I don't know the details, but because of how Dream to Nix probably provides you with like details for each specific crate, but not for the whole, not provide you with the whatever would be convenient for doing such operations on the entire workspace.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Okay.
That's what he's talking about here.
All right.
I don't think we mind. What's important to us is that we keep generating and publishing docs.
And then we have to do this merge thing because there are two things.
We don't even have to. I think it doesn't matter. But do we need to keep our URLs? I think it's okay to break our links. Some of these links.
Okay. Cool. I pushed generating doc package for each crate, so it will be under the docs attribute of a crate's outputs. Probably look into how to combine those later. I have some ideas. Yeah.
As you can see, UseDocra has been all but working for us.
Right. Yeah, this is
not only this
extremely
discussion.
responsive.
This is like the fourth.
Saw your name up on top here.
It's like the fourth time he just implemented whatever I needed.
Wow.
So take this very public stage.
Full of energy. That's awesome.
To thank UseDocra.
Thank you, UseDocra. Okay, so have we pulled the latest version of NCI? The one that has this docs attribute?
No.
Okay, so I'll do a next flake update.
Sure, start your timer, so maybe.
T7. Okay.
But
there we go.
Only that input, right?
Yep.
Not Nix packages.
Yep, I was hoping I'd get some tab completion, but it's NCI. Okay. There we go.
That cool. Seems to. It might have bumped Rust for us. I don't think we mind though.
The Rust overlay is where we get Rust from now?
Probably.
Salika. Does this use Phoenix under the hood? It's totally unrelated. Binary distributed Rust toolchains. Okay, so this isn't building Rust from source. Okay. Don't
Strange, huh?
understand.
It's like not Nixie to use binary distributed.
Yeah. I don't understand why this is better than Phoenix. Well, okay. Neither of them mentions each other. Rust overlay. Okay. Why? Oh well. Okay, that's done. So then we can go to docs and Nixflake show. Okay.
So we need to undo what we did before this thing was available. This is simply not necessary now. We don't even need this module at all.
Okay. So program
think,
docs is gone.
Well, in releasing it, there should be something that has to do with releasing the program docs, but not for building them. Is there anything about the docs here?
Workflow docs. So it expects there to be a dot hash program docs. Probably comes from packages dot
It
program
came
docs.
from, yeah. This is already an attempt to like re-implement a package after converting to NCI, but before NCI had this specific feature. So this is all irrelevant.
Sure. But this, are you suggesting we change this to like do dot hash
I don't know.
something dot docs?
We might need to do symlink join or cargo merge or something to end up with with this package again.
Okay. So it seems reasonable for it to live in this file, this program docs. Right?
Yeah, maybe change this to hello for now.
Change what to hello? Oh, just to get this thing to evaluate. Like that. Oh boy. There we go. Packages comes from here.
Did you set up the... Yeah,
that thing?
Nice.
I did. Yeah. Okay. Nixflake show. Okay, great. Now we have program docs. Just to check my understanding, this package is like an NCI package. Is that right? So like, can I do something like nix build dot hash this dot docs?
I expect there to be hyphen docs. Something hyphen docs. We don't have that?
Well, what I didn't get that. He said the docs attribute.
Attribute of a crate's outputs. Okay. No, you're right. Yeah.
So, I mean, it seems like it's there, but not working. Options docbook has been removed in 2405.
Seems like our dream. Oh, what timing, huh? But we never. I
mean,
we never
11 is the thing that just came out. 2405 is old news.
We never overridden the Dream to Nix input. So we should have whatever the default for
Right.
NCI is.
Yep.
You can confirm that with Nix, with looking at the flake.
Options doc book. There's where that's mentioned. And then, yeah, if we look at the flake, NCI, we have over in Nix packages, like parts and tree functions. That's it. So,
What
like,
does this
if
Nix
NCI
have?
happened to use an old version of Nix packages that still had options doc book, I guess that could explain this. So does this line of code still exist in like the latest version of Dream to Nix? Options doc book. It does. Okay. I'll rotate. Mob next. Okay, it's all you. I gotta stop my share. There you go. So how did you hear of NCI?
I think I just saw it in the flake parts manual.
Oh, cool.
I think I'm using it in 2 more projects.
Sweet.
But now that I've discovered that it's using Rust overlay that provides distributed binary toolchains,
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess we can go figure out what that's all about.
so Nix
Do
build.
you care about that on like philosophical grounds?
Uh, yeah,
I assume you haven't been using patches to the Rust compiler.
I value the Nix way itself, and I also value consistency. Like you said, I'd like to at least understand why such a choice has been made, especially since Phoenix has been working fine.
Right. That does seem odd. And I am surprised the README doesn't explain why this thing exists.
PR tracker. I think it's the fetcher config. Okay, let's say it's dev doc.
Okay,
Yeah, and we have some incompatibility.
So I checked, and that string, that keyword, still exists in the latest version of Dream to Nix. So it might be worth checking the Dream to Nix GitHub repo to see if anyone's reported this. And
Are you
maybe
sure
we're just
we're building the right?
misunderstanding.
What is even? Why is it even used?
Why is it even what? Sorry?
Used. What does docbook have to do
I have no idea.
with Rust doc?
Good question. We could look at the commit where NCI added support for this, and maybe that would give us a clue about how to use it.
Here. Here's the helper for this, make docs only package. And this is what, this thing is what you were talking about extending, like treating packages with the Nix packages module system.
Okay.
It takes package and then it returns a different package using package.extend modules.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a module CFG. CFG is this.
Okay.
See, it's a Nix packages module.
Yep. Looks like one.
And it seems to provide value for make derivation, build phase. So it's probably overriding the build phase and the check phase and install phase.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
So far, this has nothing to do with the doc book. Neither does this, neither does that. Docs profile, something. This is default no. Docs is a package.
Okay, so we should see that getting set to something somewhere.
Project also has a docs profile, but that has a default release. We were using dev. Release docs. Well, that didn't help us.
So that diff we were looking at, we see the docs option being defined. Docs equals l.make option. Where's that thing getting a value?
I'm not sure. Here? I think it's here.
Got it. Okay. Packages.docs profile is packages.release. Okay. I guess that makes sense. So they're passing the release package into there and then overriding its build phase and check phase.
Similar to check and Clippy.
All right. So just to sanity check things, what if you change the command you just ran in your terminal from something.docs to something.clippy? Okay. So we are dealing with a different.
But Clippy might not be release. I think Clippy might be dev. No.
So I think this fits with, you were asking why is docbook involved, and I think the answer is it shouldn't be. We're probably getting tripped up by some completely unrelated .docs thing, right? Because wherever we do .docs, we should also be able to change the .docs to .clippy, just based on the code we were just looking at, right?
I'm doing mixtake show again. Are these packages? Yes, these are packages. My architecture, my system is here. And we're currently not seeing docs. So we're not seeing the promised thing.
Well, I'm not surprised about that, right? It's an attribute stashed in something, which may or may not be a package.
I don't think it's a new option. That's when they said outputs, I think they meant something else.
Okay.
Not derivation outputs. Because there is I will rotate and you'll see what I'm talking about. When I go into like this mode, not sure
Yes.
what mode is this. How do I return? Because when I press escape,
I think it's
it
Q.
doesn't.
Maybe you press the same
Yeah.
keyboard shortcut again.
Ah, yes, thank you.
Control Shift Space or whatever.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Right. Okay, mob starts 7.
Maybe we can see this in the context of the build documentation, and you'd be able
Okay.
to see what outputs are. I think the only thing that's missing is that it does not by default place these docs in the persistent packages.
Mhm.
That's the only part we'd need to do manually.
Okay, so I think like what I don't know is I guess what you're saying, maybe you said this already. It's like all these outputs we see,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't write these ourselves. We're kind of getting these for free by using
Except for a
NCI.
couple, yeah.
Okay. And all right. So that's why you expect to see a dash doc, because what NCI is doing when it produces these package outputs, it's got to flatten things. It can't like have a deep structure.
Yes.
So like if I search for like, probably not going to be a winning move, but if I like search for dash dev thing, right, it's more generic than that, but this is like some dash profile or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Probably. That's
All right, cool. Okay, so there are some NCI docs you want to take a look at?
I think we can start with going to the program docs module.
Program docs module. Okay, so
Our program docs
this thing?
module. Yes. And doing something like let's pick one of them. Config instead of packages. Hello. Config NCI. I think it'll be something like. Well, this is where I need the manual. I think it has something like outputs. Yeah. Outputs. Yeah. NCI outputs name.
System NCI outputs. Name,
Name
packages.
packages. It's kind of it's kind of missing what's
This is the
inside.
one.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, great.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
NCI
that's
outputs.
first system dot NCI outputs. Okay, so first system
We
dot NCI outputs, and this would be, I don't know, fetcher.
I think it'll be
The
VR
full name.
tracker, fetcher, VR
That
tracker fetcher.
that formatted. Mix like show. Here we go. All right. Program docs are there. So if I do a next build dot hash program docs, does it do a thing? Okay. Wow. 729 things to build. Okay. Maybe this is working.
We do need to change the names of all of these because, as you can see, and also omit the dev ones. We don't need the dev builds. We want the release builds.
Okay.
In the meantime, we can take a look at the manual to see how to omit. By default, you get dev and release. I
This
think
manual?
if you search for profiles, plural. Yep.
Default.
The default is that. And we basically want the same as the default, but without the dev.
Test equals true. Okay. Well, so we'll just set it to .run tests. Okay. And where do you think we'd put that?
NCI module.
CI per system. We have that already. CI projects, default profile. Okay, wonderful. Profiles equals
Dot release. Yeah.
okay. Profiles don't have a name. Profiles for that. Okay, great. All right, so we expect next Flake show to get shorter. Okay, that's not quite going to do what we want, I guess, because we are using the dev profile somewhere.
I think it's because there is a you see the make Clippy only package, so I think we can set the Clippy profile. We need to set the Clippy profile. It's like it's not that smart. It's kind of a bad UX.
The Clippy profile. So is that like
I would search the
default
manual
value here
instead of the
doesn't mention Clippy?
implementation. Yes. So you see that the default is dev.
Okay.
That's why it's failing, I'm guessing.
All right, that makes sense. So what is that in like the just explain to me like what this means in the Rust universe? What is a Clippy profile? That like when you run Clippy, you say what cargo profile you
Your
want to use?
experience and also my experience is just running cargo Clippy.
Right.
And that actually picks a profile, and I think the default profile is dev.
Okay.
And that implications of that is usually not relevant for Clippy, but semantically, but maybe practically, it does. Sometimes there will be items. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether that's good practice, but sometimes you can you can omit items entirely based on the profile. So if you're building with the dev profile, you have some more items because I don't know, they're good for the tooling, for your development tooling or something.
Okay.
So if you end up checking Clippy, using Clippy with the release profile, I think you won't be even checking those items.
Yeah. So is that not what we want?
Let's see. Let's try.
That is much shorter output. Just the dash release.
Yes.
And it's not hitting an evaluation error. Okay, so I'll do a mob next. And I'll let that next build keep chugging along.
Okay. Where's my editor? I used to have an editor. Here. Okay, something happened here. This is not. Oh, there's another reason I'm using Zellige, because I don't have to keep going to the same. What if I do like this? I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, you've configured Sway with instructions about how to open a terminal, right? Like you give it a command to run.
Yeah, just alacrity.
Yeah. So I think the command you should give it is instead alacrity xcwd or whatever. Like tell it where its current working directory should be when it opens.
Really?
So like the way I've got that set up. Xmonad.h.
But you're using X.
Yeah.
So I would have to obtain somehow the working directory of the current focused window.
Right.
I'll make
Yep.
a note to try to do that.
If you want, probably not terribly helpful, but here's how I do that in my Xmonad. Although this, dates back to before I had Nix as a superpower, so I might have done that differently today. But yeah, I want you to figure all these things out so that when I inevitably make the move to Wayland, you'll have figured all these things out for me.
Well, I've figured much of these things out for you already.
Thank you. So we'll do a symlink join here of the two docs.
How about checks docs equal config packages program doc. Like check.
It's like API-release, right?
Is that something? I don't. Where is that coming from, though? Oh, okay. Now we need to change. This is the tests not being able to find. Right. This is like probably the package. We gave it a package, but it's not there. We need to basically rename, right? Like this, when we do next flag show, this is not what
Oh, sorry. What was the command you ran? Was it next flick check?
next flag check.
Got it. Okay. I see. Yep. So ideally, we wouldn't change the names of our outputs.
Yes.
Yep. Got it. It's nice
The
that
way to do
the way
that.
we architected this told us that we broke it.
Yes. Rename to
But is
in
this
the
still gonna
next flag
suffix with
show.
the profile name?
Hmm.
Doesn't that feel like it would? Because it says creates outputs plural.
Yeah, it might.
But let's give it a shot and see if it works the way we're guessing it works.
NCI creates something, rename to. So this is API. NCI creates PR developer API. Name to our mistake. Was it just API?
I believe that was the output, yeah.
Okay. Show.
Yep.
Oh no.
Okay, and so it's still got the
API
suffix.
release.
But that's half of what we need to do.
Yeah. But I think
Can we
that's
give the
where
profile an empty string name? Probably not the right way of doing it.
the profile will be passed to
Cargo.
to cargo.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, we could look at the docs, or we could look at the line of code that adds this dash profile name and see if it's got an if statement.
Okay. I'm going to rotate.
Yeah. All right. Whoa, shoot. Sorry. My screen resolution just changed. All right. Can you still see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rename to. Rename to. Get create names. Current name let. Checks. Okay. Packages equals. I'm not feeling good about this. See that?
Yep.
That does not look like there's any way to not end up with a dash something.
Well, we could keep the new ones
And add
and not
aliases.
even rename them and provide aliases.
Yeah. That is backwards compatible and not even doesn't feel terrible to me. Lets people be explicit if they want to be. I can live with that.
Yeah, it's kind of imposed upon us. I think that we could. I know a way to solve this. I think there's a export false. We could just this all depends on the export, and that's right there in the. There should be a filter somewhere where you kind of where you came from. There you go. It's like dot export. Just
I see.
disable the export and then do it ourselves.
I see. So we could say we could loop over every crate, and for each one, produce the output ourselves. Okay. Or maybe
In
not even
fact,
loop over.
most of I think we could disable export for the entire project and then just because we don't need all these.
Oh, are we
We
producing
want the checks
outputs
for them,
for
but we don't.
like DB context release, for instance? Like these
Yeah,
are
we never
okay.
had
Yeah,
these.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I agree. So let's set export to false. That keeps our the API surface area of our flake small, which feels nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So is that a project level setting?
Mm-hmm.
And you're getting that from here?
Um. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Export equals false.
Let's try.
Go. I didn't do a mob start. Get stash. Mob starts 7. But it does look like it worked. You can see not a lot of packages there. Get stash. Pop. And then I guess we don't need the rename to. It's not doing anything
Correct.
for us at this point.
It's not doing anything.
Boom. Okay. And then do you want feels reasonable to me to not write a loop and to just do this in the 2 places.
Mm-hmm. 2 places.
Modules, API, modules fetcher default. And so there will be a per system, and we'll just say packages dot fetcher equals, and this will be like what? NCI dot
Config
config dot NCI dot crates
NCI
dot
outputs, not crates.
outputs. Okay.
Yeah. Outputs.
Outputs.
Yeah. Outputs name packages dot proper.
Dot what?
Packages dot release.
Okay. And config. Love it. Right.
Same
And
for
then I'll do
API.
same thing over here. Why is this one so much shorter? Guess the fetcher's the interesting one. All right. API fetcher. And give me some config. Great.
So how's the next font
Oh yeah.
going?
I got some feedback on some of my PRs yesterday. So I need to push that over the finish line. But the tree fumped with the functionality I needed has been released for a while now. So
the PR is for what?
I've got one PR to what is it, null ls or none ls? I can't remember. Which adds support for Nix fumped. And then I've got another PR which adds support for making the discovery of the command to run asynchronous, because it takes a moment when you're like dealing with a non-trivial flake. So that just gives a better experience so that your editor doesn't hang for like 5 seconds the first
If
time
it
you
doesn't hang
save.
and you can continue editing, what happens if you execute that command and then edit, and then it does end up formatting your buffer?
Yeah, so none ls or whatever already handles that, and it just if it loses the race, if the file changed in the meantime, it just discards the
Okay, that's
the
reasonable.
formatted stuff. And
And how do you know that it kind of finished? Does it say any?
how does sorry, are you talking about the
How do
formatting
you
or
know
the
the
discovery of the entry point?
discovery of the entry point?
That's the part that's slow for me, is because what I'm doing is evaluating the flake to figure out the formatter command, which is,
I don't think it
basically
matters. As for my question
Mhm.
is that as an NVIM user, I hit the thumbed. How do I know that it finished formatting or like failed to format? Like, how do I know that should I wait or should I?
Well, you shouldn't wait.
Then
There's no
how do
reason to
I know
wait.
that it did format or failed to format because I didn't wait long enough and I kept on editing?
Yeah, so I think you would just, if you kept on editing, it means you made another change, which means you're probably going to hit save again. So yeah, I think the answer to your question is there isn't a visual indicator. I
But
imagine
it
if it
doesn't
fails to
matter as
format, you
much
get
as I
an
think.
error. Yeah, because like the scenario you're describing is one where you're about to trigger another. The human is about to trigger it happening again because the human made a change.
Uh, okay. I want the visual.
You sound
I
skeptical.
want the confidence to. I want some tiny thing in the status bar.
Yeah,
Some roller.
yeah, that would be slick. Well, so that is how so once I learned about like more about all this stuff, I made it so that there is a little like status thingy when it's discovering the next font entry point.
Mm-hmm.
So it says like, I'm looking for it, and then but so I had some fun with it, but I've just got this stack of PRs that need to get merged. And I have not taken the time to, like I said, I just got some feedback yesterday from some maintainer of this project.
Okay.
So coming soon.
I'm looking forward, and I appreciate your work.
One of the problems of Nix being so awesome is it's like easy to sit on patches to projects, which makes me less motivated, than I should be to push some stuff over the finish line. Like if I was an
It's
Arch
a
user, I'd be
different
like,
kind of works on my machine.
yeah, right. Nix Flake show. Right. Well, they're both there. Aww, unrecognized option profile. What's the command
Where?
we're running here?
Wait, that's cargo saying, right?
Yep. So is it this check dash dash profile?
Oh,
No, that worked.
well,
That command, I think, finished. And then the next one was
yeah.
cargo build dash dash profile, which also succeeded. Dash dash
Then
profile.
where's the error from?
It looks like it might be this cargo test dash dash skip, which we wrote, I think.
Maybe some invocation is not composing correctly.
Okay, so it's probably the dash dash.
Yeah.
Uh, so everything after that point is treated as arguments to,
It's ordering.
yeah.
That's okay. We can fix ordering, right?
I don't know. We're not the ones doing this.
It's the Nix packages module system. Try like lib make after.
Oh, lib.makeAfter. Okay. Okay, I've never used this before, but let's give it a shot. No, that wasn't the command I was running. What was I running? Fetcher.
How do you not mess up the layout when you move things around? It seems like you are replacing.
Yeah. So I don't know what Sway's model is, but with Xmonad, it's basically this like, I've got 3 different layouts, and I pretty much always use this one here, which is like one large window, and then everything else just gets piled up here.
Okay.
So like whenever I open a new window, depending on where I'm focused, it kind of goes like here. This one was focused, so
On
it
the
went
right
here.
or on the left?
It always goes kind of like, if you think of these as being ordered, like this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It always, like, whatever's focused, when I open a new window, it goes in the current index, and then everything after gets moved down. And then if I want to, I can like move these things around, which is just like, I have a keyboard shortcut for
If
like
you move
cycling.
one from the right to the left, then it gets then the one in the left takes its place.
Yeah, but yeah. So, and then another one that I use a lot is just a keyboard shortcut that like takes the current one and makes it like the sort of master window. So like I'll be here and I'll be like, I need this to be bigger, and I'll go over here, and those two just swap. And the other thing I do a lot of is the sort of like zoom, like this is just take that currently
That
focused
looks like
thing and
nearly. Okay, I get it.
and then that just toggles the zoom. So like, make that one big, make it small again.
That
This would
seems
probably be a lot
well
easier to
more.
follow if I had like animations or something, but
And that wouldn't be Sway. That would be Hyperland, which I should check out because animation. Because we're doing so much screen sharing, animation may well be worth it.
yeah. So it, based on what little I've seen of Sway from you, it sounds like Sway has a very different model of like groups of things that get split into groups of other, possibly recursive groups, or maybe
Well,
it's only one layer deep.
yeah. So I think it's about the lack of model. I think seems like Xmonad has more higher level features.
Maybe.
Because I haven't noticed that Sway lets me have like a set of different layouts and switch between them. I don't remember seeing that, but I know that it is scriptable, so you can use some programs to, and maybe that's the better approach. Do something well and let your users figure out the rest.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly there are occasionally things that I would like to do that I suspect are possible to do if I knew Haskell and understood Xmonad's architecture, but I don't know or understand either of those things. And so things that I could describe to you, I would have no idea how to build with Xmonad.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me feel like not the level of control that I like having over my software.
Right. I always feel that way. And then I make progress and then I still feel that way about something.
Like you don't have control.
Yes, but there's so many things, especially because we opt in for a keyboard oriented experience. And remember when we talked about my idea for NixVim based NeoVim distro or like a config that Here, you don't have to figure everything out because we have figured it for you.
Yeah.
And there you go. That
I thought
can
about
be
that.
taken to the level of here's like an entire desktop, is a window manager and everything you need. Like, but there is so much of that in the open source the Linux distro world. There are desktop environments, but not a single one of them that I know of is like for the keyboard oriented user,
Hmm.
and not for a good reason, right?
Well, I mean, I think part of it is you're talking about like cross-cutting concerns in a way that most operating systems, at least, when I think of like GNOME, I don't think of it
Mm-hmm.
as like configuring my VS Code or whatever, to do anything GNOME-y.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe another way of saying it is like so much stuff is like mouse oriented by default that like unconfigured Chrome, unconfigured VS Code kind of behaves in a mousy sort of way. And if you
Mm-hmm.
use those in a mousy desktop environment like GNOME or KDE, then you just have a mousy experience.
Mm-hmm.
Some programmer that I work with on a Rust project yesterday was like, wanted to have like a decent, nice things in Vim with like Rust coding, like a LSP server and all that. And it was too much hassle to set up. So he was like, I'm just going to use VS Code. And I was like, oh, this is like, it's so
Mm-hmm.
sad. I
Yeah,
wish
and
I could
that's
have
why,
pointed him to
because
like, this is the thing you do.
right, because wanting to be keyboard oriented does not necessarily mean wanting to customize everything. But we end
Yeah.
up having to customize everything. I value everything that I've learned in the process. But
Yeah.
that's not the trade off I would have chosen if I had the choice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a very open mind of you because most people, I might be a little more like this than you are, kind of get in this like, oh, I did it. I learned it. Now everyone else has to go through the same path to have nice things too. It's like, this is the. So, anyways, what you're describing is like an honorable goal from my perspective. It's just like, just being keyboard oriented implies you're going to be learning a bunch of keyboard shortcuts or whatever. But like, it doesn't necessarily mean you're interested in like
Setting them.
inventing the keyboard shortcuts yourself, much less figuring out how to configure them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Um, but I also like at this point, I don't know that I want to like the debates that would be necessary to get two different keyboard oriented people to agree upon a set of keyboard shortcuts might be enough to derail any project.
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't know. I mean, Katfuchin's a thing, and I had no idea that something like that could be a successful project. So what do I know? My mental model of how humans work is has been seriously altered by your description of that project. Okay. So we got the same error. I'm going to rotate. Up next. I'll hand that off to you.
What was the command you ran? Build
Nix
something?
build.hash fetcher.
And this is, but it is program docs that we just use the make after for, right?
No, I don't think so. The make after was for fetcher. So I think we figured out how to rename it, and then we tried building it, and it's possible it just never built, or at least hasn't built lately. And so now we're kind of distracted by that, and we haven't actually finished or verified the program doc stuff.
Well, it won't take long.
Great.
Let me take a look at like show new time in this. Yeah, that is possibly what we could do next. Like show GitHub molybdenumsoftware. Yeah, I think that's the same.
4 things. Okay, there's your unrecognized option profile.
Wait, we didn't fix it?
I mean, we haven't looked to see if the make
How
after
did you
had
see
the
what ran?
effect. I ran that next log command for full logs.
Of course, there's no one. Does it completion?
I would suspect completion is really challenging for a file system in a directory like next door.
It gives up.
Like, isn't what your shell's gonna have to do is like ls the directory, right? And then
It
that's
times
gonna
out.
be a ton.
Wait, what?
So then if you scroll up to the command that's running, there it is.
Okay, obviously.
So it seems like the make after maybe didn't have the desired effect.
Yeah. Fetcher default mix.
Rust-crane. Okay, so my first bit of surprise is the word crane.
This is a dream to Nix option.
Okay, so crane is involved somewhere in all of
Make
this.
order 0. With print build logs.
Love it.
We don't have to do this. We could trace the value of the option.
That might be faster.
No go lib modules make before here's make order after before Oh, that's not, yeah.
Oh, pardon me.
That did not work, did it? I thought it was supposed to. I suppose it's not that option, is it? It's simply not that option. It gets concatenated somewhere else.
Yeah, like test flags and other things.
Like if we do something like here, big, big, it's not there. Yeah. Just like, and then what? Try to. Can we? Yeah, we can do that. Huh? Sure.
Okay,
There
there
you
it is.
go.
But that's
It's,
exactly what we set it to.
yeah,
So we
which
need to see the
means,
value it gets concatenated with, right?
well, my point was to prove that make before would not work.
Right. Yeah. Got it. Yep. You are right.
Okay. Instead,
Okay.
so either we cannot use hyphen hyphen in test flags or something else. I think that might be in, who knows, like either in, probably Drink to Nix would have that, right?
Test dash crane. Okay. Yep. Cargo test flags.
Maybe it's a different option that we're looking for.
This is it, right? Cargo test flags goes before dash dash profile. That feels a lot like the relevant line of code, right?
Yeah. Can we see what we're actually using it for? What are we passing there?
Skipping a couple of tests.
Okay, and then, oh, I see. Yeah, cargo test command package name, cargo test profile.
Could we like have these tests go in a conditional compile that only happens when doing an impure something or other? Like just
Profile
not include these
or
tests
config.
in a Nix build?
Yeah, we could use configuration. Don't know what configuration option. Config flags.
Like I feel like just like a
Feature
pure
flags.
build
Yeah.
or impure build bool would be like, you know, those are called features. The like on Windows do this, on Mac OS do that.
Yeah, or
Pound
arbitrary named
defines.
feature flags.
I mean, I like that to some degree because it means this file doesn't have to keep changing if we had more impure tests.
Yes, and then we don't have to use the hyphen hyphen.
Right. We just run all the tests and some of the tests aren't included.
We would need to pass that flag.
Yeah.
Or not pass, depending on what the default is, right?
Yeah, I mean, arguably, maybe our users get a better experience if it defaults to not happening because, sorry, not our users, our other developers who clone this thing and do a cargo check are going to see these tests fail as well, right? Because they haven't set up a API token or something.
Correct.
So, yeah, I guess we're missing a little bit of documentation about how to run what these tests are and how to run them if you need to run them or when you should run them.
True.
But
So
that's a different
let's
thing.
prepare the work for next session by making a new branch. You can possibly pull it.
Impure tests.
The fact that there's a flag. I actually don't remember what the Rust feature is called. So yeah, sure. Import this.
Rust conditional compilation. They call it configurations? CFG?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll call that
CFG actor. CFG and CFG actor. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now we can do something that breaks, like just maybe ask an LLM what.
a little confused. Why does this file still exist? Oh, build work. Okay, cool. And so the thing that'll fail is if I comment out this, right? And then if I do a nix build.hash, that'll now fail, right?
Yes.
And like the to do is basically use Rust. Does that feel like enough of a breadcrumb for us?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Mob next. Cool. All right. Good stuff.
Indeed. Yeah, good work. And thank you for your participation in this session, Jeremy.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to next time. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed it and learned something. Until next time, take care. Be well.
Bye.